Hello, students of Pelican Rapids High School. This is the first of what I hope is going to be a weekly kind of get together for you to kind of try to keep things as normal as possible, at least see a familiar face talking to you. So, first thing I guess I want to talk to you about is this is my first day back since we let out of school. My wife and I both self-quarantined. My wife went to Spain to visit our son Ryan, who was playing basketball over there, and he is now back in the States. He is with his brother right now until Friday on their 14-day self-quarantine. Just because things were getting crazy out of Spain, we didn't want to bring the virus here. Both Sue and I, healthy. All right, so far so good. So this is actually my first day back. It's March 25th. It's a Wednesday, and expecting you to be watching this, sometime next week, end of March type of a deal. So I'm glad to be back. It's just it's nice to have a little bit of normal, a little bit of a job, okay, and going to work type of thing. It helps kind of like the mind get through things. So, hope everything is going well with you. I truly believe that when you guys get into your 19s, 20s, 21s, you're going to look back at this time and go, wow, wasn't that crazy when, okay, they called off school and we got to stay at home and all that stuff. Right now, though, it's kind of a bummer because we're missing a lot of fun things, athletic events, hanging out. The state tournament for the girls was cut short. All that little things they really do add up and they really do matter. So yeah, hey, it's just something that we are kind of forced to do at this point in time. So with that. Want to just show you this little picture I took of my whiteboard. This is the last talk I gave, okay, before we had this break. And the talk came off of CNN, watched CNN, of course, was on the coronavirus, and just kind of had a little bit of discussions with you about a couple things. And one of the things, first thing I want to draw your attention to is how really, from 1945 to 2020, where we're at right now, we really haven't experienced a whole lot of major shutdowns. Okay, we did have 9/11. Okay, first thing probably going to bring up. We have had our minor wars. Okay, or conflicts in Afghanistan, Iraq, which have devastated some. We had an H1N1 virus that swept through. We had the little Ebola scare. But this is the first time, of course, that this has happened in over 75 years where we've had a major impact on our entire society. But what I wanted to show you is that this kind of stuff has happened in history before. It is major events take place. It's just the way the world has always worked. And we can go way back into ancient history, but I won't go there. What I showed you is what happened in our society just less than 100 years ago. And look at from 1910 to 1945, in those 35 years, I explained to you, there's some major things that took place. First of all, World War I. Around 1915, we get into the First World War. Definitely had a huge impact. Lots of lives lost, okay, in that situation. Then, following and right on the heels of World War I, was the Spanish flu pandemic that swept across the world. 50 million plus killed in the Spanish pandemic. Definitely a major crisis for our country. And then we get to the 1930s and we get into the Great Depression. And then following the Great Depression, we get into World War II. So we've had some major events that take place, just not in our generation. So this is kind of shocking for us. And so it's good to kind of see that our civilization, our country, our people have gone through tough times before, and we've emerged from it and pretty well most of the time. After the World War I, after the Spanish flu, we went into a period of time in the 1920s called the Roaring Twenties. Great things were happening. And then we have the Great Depression, World War II, and then we come out of the World War II into the happy days of the 1950s, and then fast forward us all the way to where we're at today. Life has been pretty darn good for America for the last 75 years. So, big thing I want you guys just to understand is that life goes on. We will have a new normal. Who knows what type of things will change? Hopefully, we are a new and improved version of ourselves. Hopefully, we are more prepared for the next pandemic. Hopefully, we learn our lessons and get better because of it. That's kind of like ultimately what we want to get out of this. So the other thing then, as far as learning the lesson, a lot of times you'll see on news stories about how they want to spread out the bubble. Okay, and that's where that graph came in. I showed you this before we broke, and now it's out there all the time. And they gave us two great examples of this taking place. Because in 1918 in Philadelphia, they decided to have a huge, kind of like a parade that took place in the city of Philadelphia. And in St. Louis, another city, they showed that they quarantined. And what happened in Philadelphia is there was this huge spike in the number of people that were going into the hospital because they were so sick. And what happened in St. Louis is that they had a number of people get sick, but it was spread out over time. And that's exactly what we're trying to do in America today. That's why you're sitting at home watching this video. All right? And so what's happening is we want to help others survive this that are more susceptible to getting a very, very serious condition because of this. We know that a lot of people will get this and it'll be uncomfortable, but for some, it is definitely going to be life-threatening. Just today, on the news today, Carl Anthony Towns tweeted out, hey, my mother, she's in a coma. She's fighting this coronavirus. And it's just like that is exactly the people we want to try to protect. We want to protect the grandparents. We want to protect those that are susceptible to having a severe case of this flu. And to do that the best, we need our hospitals to be able to take care of not only the people that have the flu, okay, but all the other people that get into accidents and that get sick besides the flu, okay, that need medical help. Okay, that are battling cancer, that are trying to survive some other type of ailment. All right, we want our doctors to be able to give the best care to all individuals that walk into that hospital. And if we all get the flu at the same time, that's just not going to happen. And that's why they talk about Italy. That's exactly what happened to Italy. They had so many people, that bubble got so high, so fast, that they weren't able to take care of people. So this is a great situation for us to look at this and go, hey, we can be proactive. We can make good, solid choices to help others out. And that's why this is the screen, okay, of the day. I always put up my motivation of the day. And this is of a, hey, we can have it what's best for you or what's best for all. And we're just asking everybody, including myself, okay? Yes, I'm at school, but I've had 2 visitors. They've stood by the doorway. We've talked from social distance. We're trying to get work done. We're trying to give you a decent amount of work to do so that you can kind of continue to learn and understand the world, but we won't want to overload you. And that's why this once a week touch base for me, I think is the best thing I can do for you. So 7th grade juniors, I expect you to watch this every week. Okay, on your Google Classroom, there's an assignment for you based off of this video. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.